I think the Badgers just hit another three-pointer. The revenge tour is on. Down goes UCLA. Up next, Michigan State. This team is rolling. We got the mojo back. Let's talk about it and why Max Klesmit was the key all along.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for being here. I'm Amos Herrings. Today we were talking about the beatdown of UCLA. Tonje was incredible. The return of Max Klesmit. I know he came back last week, but we're seeing that impact. Big win for Wisconsin. Today's episode brought to you by TurboTax. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed. Head over to TurboTax.com. Get matched with your expert today. Raji, let's start with this. We always do the good, the mid, the ugly. There's a ton of good here. There's going to be multiple goods here. But let's start with the good.
I mean, welcome back, three-point shooting. Thank you. It's about time, right? Water by this level, your favorite phrase. Like, we shot 59.4%. I think we needed it, right? I mean, my good is this kind of a game is exactly what we needed. We talked about how we had to win against Northwestern. We did that. This game was like, if we win, it's great. If we lose, it's really not that big of a deal. But what a message that just got sent. Revenge again in that game that I was at UCLA. Fantastic, just performance all around. But I'm going to do a specific goods, particularly is the defense on Bilodeau. Bilodeau is their leading scorer. He was 1 of 7, and he had 2 points tonight. And to give that credit to Crowl, Winter, Gilmore, Amos, they all defended him at one point or the other. And I thought some of the defending there was great. We talk a lot about positional defense with Stephen Crowl. I thought the guys did a great job defending him. That is their best player. And he scored 2 points. And look, I mean, UCLA got a ton of open shots still. That's another discussion. But I think that the way we defended him specifically is one of my goods.
Yeah, my good is Klesmit. We kind of talked about this, right? Is it as simple as just this team is shooting poorly because Klesmit's not here? Now, for a period of up into the second half of yesterday's game, Wisconsin was shooting about 34% from three. Today they shoot 59%. Was it? I don't have it up actually anymore. I closed my box score. 59.4% on three today. Obviously not always going to do that, but listen, there's a very long sample size here that when Max Klesmit plays, this team shoots pretty damn well. And again, some of it is just taking the minutes off of Tonje and Blackwell, freeing them up to be shooters, to be floor spacers where they don't have to do as much ball handling, don't have to do as much creation. Klesmit coming back is the glue to this thing. He's the straw that stirs the drink. I think you and I were both incorrect on the impact he would have when he was out short term. I mean, neither of us said this team is better without him. Make no mistake. We all recognize there's value, but the good is Klesmit. Klesmit's back, and you can see the immediate impact on this team. So that's my good. I'm going to give you with one more good, and you kind of talked about it. The mojo's back. We talked about the Big Ten tournament, how you and I are both, it's not our favorite thing in the world, but this team needed to rediscover its mojo a little bit. That is back. We feel like we did earlier in the year. And you can see the players on the bench on the roster. You see Tonje and Klesmit yapping on the court. And like it just feels like this is who we've been most of the year. And what a good time to have that clicking heading into the big tournament. So that's my other good.
And I would say I'll give you credit for that. You've been saying that for the last couple of days. You've been saying that you wanted the Northwestern win, you wanted a UCLA win for the mojo, and that's exactly what happened. And I kind of underestimated how important that was, but ultimately, look, at this point now we really are playing with house money. We're going up against Michigan State tomorrow. If you beat Michigan State tomorrow, you could sneak up to 2, but I think 3 is pretty much where we are at this point, which is great, by the way. After that Penn State loss, and I was thinking, oh boy, we're really tanking like that. This is a nice set of 2 games to leave the committee with right before they go in and put our seating in and our location from hopefully Milwaukee. And even if you lose to Michigan State, that's okay. Obviously, I want it. Let's get it done. Let's go win this tournament now. That's really good. But yeah, man, I mean, and by the way, let me give you another good. Tonje and Blackwell had a good game at the same time. They scored a combined 44 points today. Their plus minus was a combined 59. I mean, they really played great. They were both efficient. I mean, Tonje, 90% from the field, 100% from three. Come on, dude. The guy, I'm sorry. That is unbelievable.
Just a sniper. I'm going to get into more there because we're going to do player of the game. So that's where I'm going to hit my Tonje stuff. But let's go to the mid. I'll start with the mid on mine. I thought dribble penetration once again just gave us issues. And inabilities at times to keep opposing guards and opposing wings out of the paint. That hurts Wisconsin. UCLA shot 26 free throws today. And we're going to talk about refs in a second, I promise you. But 26 free throws is still too much. And part of playing basketball, Rajiv, and you know this, you've watched a ton of ball, you've played ball, people in this chat have watched ball. You also have to adjust to the referees. Yeah. I thought there were too many moments where we were letting UCLA get downhill. We got a little lackadaisical at times. You can't give up 26 free throws. And some of that is just guard your yard, stay in front of your man. So to me, that's my mid in this game. I thought perimeter defense wasn't great.
Yeah, very similar. Defense and rebounding was my mid in general. I think that there were times we were 40-40 on rebounds. We actually rebounded okay. I thought there were some good athletic plays from Amos, and Tonje had a great day rebounding the ball. But look, I think that ultimately, and I was pulling up his stats, but Tonje had 9 rebounds, which is great. Nolan Winter had 8, but too many times that situationally the rebounding was poor. I mean, there were way too many second chance points for UCLA, and too many second chance attempts. And it seems like every time we were like, they were in a bit of a run and we really needed to get a stop, they'd miss the ball and then they'd get the rebound. And those are the things that when you look on paper, we're not a bad rebounding team, and we're not. But it's those those times when the other team gives it that much more effort and we just can't seem to block out the right guy, can't seem to make that thing work. So rebounding there specifically for me. But yeah, the perimeter defense, just wide open threes. And I understand that we were up by a lot, but even late in the second half, I just felt like they were just kind of walking around, not closing out. Even in the first half, got to close down three-point shooters with some consistency because, again, the teams in March that we're going to play, they're going to be good from 3. They just are. That's just how it works and how it happens every year.
Yeah, I'll give UCLA. I agree with you on the rebounding at times was frustrating. UCLA is also a tough team to keep off the glass when Mara's in there at 7-3, when you have foul trouble with your bigs. Like they have an athletic big front court. They emphasize it. Like it is difficult, but yeah, there are moments where there's 2 or 3 back to back where it just really stands out and you just can't get the ball. I'm going to go to the bad. It's just the referees for me. What a crap show. What an awful, ridiculous excuse of a refereed second half where you didn't call much in the first half and then you had 5 fouls in the first minute and a half of the second half, multiple reviews of plays that didn't need to be reviewed. At one point, Cronin is just like, hey, I'd like to review that. And they're like, sure, let's do it. I'm like, what? You didn't even charge him a timeout for that? You don't get to just say, hey, let's review this play just in case. We should do that every play then. Hey, can we review that just in case? It was obnoxious. The second half felt like I was watching the Titanic sink. It took 3 hours. It was ridiculous. It was broken up. The play was broken up. They were calling everything, and then they wouldn't call something. And listen, they called a ton of fouls on UCLA as well. I thought it was way too inconsistent. I thought that there was a lot of moments they should have let them play. Far too many reviews. The one on Winter was absurd. That was an absurd technical foul on Nolan Winter, which helped get UCLA back in the game, by the way. So egregiously terrible refereeing on both sides today.
Yeah, really, really bad. The District 72, the double foul call was horrendous, by the way. I mean, what are you doing with a double foul? Like, you were allowed to block somebody out, by the way. Tonje's allowed to block him out. Okay, that's not a foul in any way, shape, or form. Both of the times they reviewed the flagrants, right? Nolan Winters, and then again, was it Crowl that had the second one? No contact with the face whatsoever. None whatsoever. Both times the guy was hit on the shoulder, his head cocks back. Guess what that is? That's a flop. And the referee saw that. They even told Nick Cronin the second time. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you know what the other thing is? This is what's going to happen in the tournament too. There are times when, like, what they didn't do in the first half was call it tighter. Hand checking constantly from UCLA. They were literally like, when Blackwell or Kamari were bringing up the court, their hands were just on him the whole time. I'm like, that's a foul. You can't do that. Well, when you allow that in the first half, that's why in the second half, UCLA is like, hey, we're going to be physical with them. They're letting us play. Let's do it now. So then you slow the game down. There's all these calls. We were in the bonus within the first 4 minutes of the second half, which was fine with us, of course. It helped us maintain that lead. But yeah, I mean, it's bad. And obviously it didn't cost us anything. We still blew them out. But and listen, those refs are Big Ten refs. We've seen those guys all year through in various games that we've had. Really, really poor. But that's what happens when you don't set the tone early. When you ref poorly at the beginning, it really spreads and it can hurt you in the second half. But the other bad I'm going to say is Carter Gilmore's 3-point shooting. Whoa, what happened? What happened, buddy? That's tough. And I don't want to say too many bad things because we had a performance that we had today, but to get in the gym and start shooting more of those. We got to get back in that rhythm. And it's not even about having to make a ton or take a ton. It's that threat that we had with Gilmore out there. And if teams start playing off of him again, then it changes our offensive system. So he is going to have to still take them when he's open. But hopefully he can drain a few.
Yeah, Zach Bart says bad equals the reps. They were abysmal, also Gilly shooting. And I said the same thing a couple days ago is this offense is predicated on spacing. And there were a couple moments today I put in the Discord, UCLA was no longer closing out on Gilmore like a shooter. They were closing out on Gilmore like, okay, I can hang back. It's already happened. I think it's done. I think it's done. I think it encapsulates in the fact that late in the game, there was a low shot clock moment, short shot clock moment. Gilmore got the ball open for a three and tried to drive in. I think it's over, honestly. And I hate saying that because it's been one of the coolest stories all year. I think it's kind of over. And that dovetails into my bad, which again, we're just being honest. There's good, mid, and bad in every win, every loss. You just got to be consistent. It's never all good or all bad. And this was an incredible game. But the same thing I talked about yesterday, Janicki and Gilmore off the bench, you got 2 combined points from them in 30-something minutes. Like, we love every energy play they make, the headiness, the defensive versatility. Like, they're really good in those moments, but you can't have 2 bench guys coming off playing 30-plus minutes and giving you 2 points in back-to-back games. So across the last 2 games, Rajiv, they played 60-ish minutes and giving you 4 total points. You got to find a way to get in the paint and get some garbage buckets. Offensive rebounds, tip passes, steals, whatever. Ultimately, it's still a great game, but that is where I would say a little bit of worried of the bench not having as much punch as we thought they may have.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is that you did get 22 points from McGee and Amos off the bench. So we had some bench production tonight. And I think Janicki actually had a couple good shots. I actually was fine with the shots that he took. He just needs to have them fall. But you're right. We got to get that production.
We're going to take a break, come back, talk player of the game and what made Tonje so special today. And I think we do got to give some love to Amos. Amos had a good game today. We got to give him some love as well. Coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick break for our friends of the show over at Nissan. Nissan is one of our great partners. We do this with them every March. We start to talk about the incredible job that they do. And Nissan's all about stats because numbers don't lie. When it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are at an MVP level. With the ability to up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team. It's like Tonje. Tonje could carry the whole team if you wanted to, plus the gear wherever you need to go. It's powered by the twin-turbo V6 engine. I don't know a lot about cars, but that sounds pretty awesome. It delivers the strength, performance to handle highways, back roads, everything in between. And with the room for up to 8 people, the Armada PRO-4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Fran McCaffrey might need this. He just got fired. He may need to take all of his McCaffrey boys. You can fit 8 of them in there and go off-roading somewhere because he's done in Iowa. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada PRO-4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at FanDuel. I know this is something Rajiv dives into. This is a great time to do it. Rajiv, what do you love about FanDuel and what they do for Locked On and for their betting partners?
Yeah, it's really all the different multiple things you can do. There's so many, there's same game parlays and things like that in game. It's so good to have all that. I mean, you can really spend a lot of time just looking at all the different things you can do, combining with this. If you like a certain game, take a flyer on something else, combine it with something you like, and you can really maximize your payouts like that.
Yeah, and if you head over to FanDuel right now, there's a great new offer, $150 in bonus bets if you nail your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let's jump back into this. Let's talk a little bit about John Tonje, player of the game, but we also need to play this guy because this was a great game, a great moment. And you may think you know where I'm going with this, but I'm actually pivoting.
Winning a national title? Absolutely. Going on Final Four runs? Why not? It's Believe with Rajiv on today's Locked On Badgers.
It's been a minute since we pulled that out. We only pulled that out when we're feeling really good. And despite the fact that we talk good, mid, and ugly, this game was awesome. Let's talk player of the game. Let's talk John Tonje. What else? Are you shooting? But you know what? Let me hit you something that I think goes missed a little bit with this team. Early in this game, the Badgers obviously hit their first 5 shots, 5 threes, 6 threes. I forget what it was.
6 threes. Yeah, 6 threes.
6 threes. And some of them weren't great looks, but Tonje is such a good shooter, and this team is, when they're really rolling, they hit tough shots. That's part of what they do. And there comes a point with John Tonje where sometimes you just have to acknowledge tough shots are good shots for him. And he was incredible today. You talked about the rebounds too. And he also had 4 assists. So Tonje, not only the scoring, insane efficiency. I can't wait to see the points per possession on Tonje. But was it 4 assists, 8 rebounds, something like that? Like he filled the box score, 9 rebounds, incredible day for Tonje.
Yeah, I mean, when you shoot 90%, 100% from three, it's just like, holy cow, bro. It's one of those moments where, we've had games sometimes where Tonje just hasn't been himself. Talk about getting right at the right time. Like, that is what we needed. And he seemed so calm. Okay, I agree with you on like those first few shots. Like, Blackwell had a really tough three that he hit that was not really a good shot. It was kind of forced. But I thought Tonje's were actually clean and good. Like, he looked like so in control. And when Tonje has that, like, it's almost like a very quiet swagger is what I call it with him. Like, he's so chill, but he is so locked in, and he was going to make everything, man. And he has that electricity about him. And the one thing I really liked today is he didn't force a lot, right? He made good decisions. There were times where he tried to drive it in. They really like cutting him off on the right. Sometimes he gets cut off and he has to pivot away from that. But he did the right thing. He found the right pass every time. And that's how he has 4 assists, right? It's like that doesn't come from nothing. It came from the fact that he had really good awareness, and he knew when he had to do stuff and he knew when he didn't. And the guy got fouled like 7 times going to the lane on one play, and he still made it. Like, he was just locked in. The guy's fantastic, absolute player of the game. I'm going to give a little shout out as well to Stephen Crowl. I know you're going to talk about Amos, but I think Stephen Crowl, once again, 5 of 7 from the field, made all his threes. Only had 1 rebound. Don't love that, but he was pulled out a lot. He wasn't really down there, but when he got the ball, he made the right passes. He started big plays where we swung it, the play where we swung it all around to McGee in the corner. Another good game from really all our bigs. I think, again, Winter even had a good game before he had foul trouble, that stupid technical foul. But yeah, man, Tonje. If we get that kind of performance from Tonje in the tournament, we're not losing. We're not losing.
Yeah, Mark says Tonje got hot at the perfect time. Andrew says Penn State was a wake-up call. Leo says, can't believe Tonje was open at all after what Cronin said in the pregame interview. Yeah, they were planning on really locking him up. I want everything you said about Crowl, I agree with. Like, you want him to get more rebounds, but again, I think people sometimes miss the other things it's almost like people take a magnifying glass to Crowl and say, what didn't you do great this game? And there are things. But then they'll forget about the fact that he's really efficient in other areas, hit his 3-pointers. Let's talk Amos for a second. Amos, this was a game where both your bigs get in foul trouble. You needed Amos. I thought he played great today. This was maybe my favorite Amos game. Multiple defensive possessions in the first half, block shots, staying in front of athletic wings, getting the rebound, fighting on the glass. And then, of course, he hits his first 3, hits another 3 later on. You got to take the good and the bad a little bit with Amos. There was a drive where he lost control of the ball, but that's fine. If you're getting multiple threes where he's spacing the floor, he's playing good defense, he's playing with energy on the glass. He is such a weapon athletically that when he's locked in, that's a big piece of this team. It's just not always there, but it was there today. I thought he played great. This was my best Xavier Amos game that I can think of off the top of my head.
2 assists, 3 blocks. 3 blocks from Xavier Amos today. We talked before the season about the athletic stretch 4. I haven't seen it a lot, but today he was playing like that athletic stretch 4. I mean, he can really be dynamic defensively when he works hard, and he was today. Again, like I talked about, Bilodeau not really having many points at all. And he was part of that reason. But man, he is such, you said it right, athletic weapon, right? Where he can jump into the lane athletically, he can get a pass, he can lay it up, he can shoot from 3. He definitely has that range. Don't think he needs to be taking all those, but that's fine. I'm not going to complain. But yeah, it's all effort with him. You can really see a direct correlation to Amos's effort and how locked in he seems mentally, and the production is there instantly because he has the skills. Right? It's not like one of those guys that no matter how hard he plays, he's really not going to be that great. Amos can be that way. When he's mentally locked in and playing really well, boy, he can really be something special. And we talk about bench production. There's your bench production today. We didn't get it from Gilmore. We got it from Amos. And I'm okay with it being one of those 2. And I'm okay if one of them has a good game, but it's got to be one of them off the bench to provide that big, because again, we've talked about this before. Foul trouble will be an issue in the NCAA tournament. It is every year. It just is. They specifically call games tight to avoid, things getting out of control. So Amos is going to have to do this even next week.
Amos is the guy, I'll call him he's the combine gold star guy. He's the only guy in the roster that could go to the combine and stand out with his athletic tools. And that's not a knock on anybody else, but I think he's the only real plus maybe Winter actually too could, but he just gives you something plus athletically that this team lacks. This team is very skilled. They're deep, they're veteran, they're physical, but he's the athlete that can come in and that can match up with a Michigan State athlete, that can match up with an Illinois athlete, that can match up with an Arizona athlete, a Kentucky athlete, whatever it is. He gives you that when he's locked in. So that was really great to see. Is it Blackwell? Who's your secondary player of the game? Tonje's obviously. Who's your second guy? You
Mine
give
was
some to
Crowl.
Crowl.
Mine was Crowl. Yeah, I will say I do like you. I feel like I find myself wanting to give it to Crowl more because I feel like there's so much animosity towards him that I don't get, but that's okay. Like when you 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 3 from threes, like, come on. I mean, I think he had a really good game. I also will give a lot of credit to Kamari McGee, who also 3 of 3 from threes, 4 of 5 from the field, 14 points, 4 assists. Boy, look at the difference in Kamari McGee coming off the bench, by the way. Like, instantaneous change. Like, he started a few games, never had the production, comes off the bench now, boom, right back to good Kamari. That's the Max Klesman effect. And the corner threes are going down again. He's driving and he's being successful. He's getting to the line again. I mean, yeah. So a lot of credit to Kamari McGee as well.
Don't badger me. Quick passes movement thing of beauty today. 100% agree. I wanted to throw this comment up because one of the notes that I had in it quickly was 22 assists on 30 made field goals. You're going to have good offense, man, if you have 22 assists on 30 made field goals. Ragnar says bad, 7 of 13 from the line. I would point out 3 of those misses are, 2 of them are Hodges at the end, and 1 of them is Janicki, who's just a weirdly mediocre free throw shooter for somebody that you expect to be better at that spot. So the regulars that got there were 7 of 10, which is still a little below par, but yeah, you do want to get to the line more than 13 times. I'd say that as well. And I think
especially when we were in the bonus 16 minutes left in the game. I'm not really sure what happened, but I'm not going to put that on the team. I'll put that on the refs because we should have got more foul shots in the second half. I mean, John Tonje should have got there several times. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. Ultimately, I mean, we just beat the doors off this team. So, but I will say, sadly, Hodges are being over 2. That's going to hurt our field goal record. I don't know. I want to get that NCAA record. That's not going to be helpful.
Yeah, Hodges looked a little rough there, which I'm not going to crush him for. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities there this year. We're going to take one more second, friends of the show. Come back. Talk about Michigan State and going forward. How can the Badgers beat Michigan State, and how important is that? Can they jump up a seed if they do beat the Spartans? That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our unbelievable friends of the show over at today's episode, also brought to you by our good friends over at Monarch Money. Listen, if there was ever an app designed for me outside of maybe trying to think of another one, maybe Bird Dogs was great for me too because it made me not look homeless. But Monarch Money helps me just figure out where all my money's going. Sometimes I just get the paycheck and then weeks later I'm like, God, what did I do with all this? And it turns out there's a lot of fast food, a lot of eating out, a lot of just miscellaneous nonsense. Monarch Money helps me figure out where all my money goes between dining out, shopping. It's easy to lose track, and that's where they come in. They're a personal CFO for you, giving you a full dashboard, like a command center for your finances. They also give you just some surprising insights. They help you just figure out some little things that add up, and the little things that add up are one of the best ways to start saving money. If you eliminate those things over time, it becomes a big deal. It's also an easy collaboration tool. They make sure you can manage money with your partner. You can each have an app. You can track and share together, which is awesome for me. I've been married for a long time. She's incredible. She actually would probably use some more collaboration on my end. So Monarch's going to help us there as well. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com / our code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. It's an incredible tool. I use it. I've signed into it. I've logged into it. Okay. Let's talk Michigan State, Reeve. If we win, does it actually help the Badgers' big picture? We can talk about mojo, momentum, feeling good, all of that. Does it help the Badgers' big picture?
I don't know. I think big potentially could help our seeding a little bit. I think right now we probably are locked in at a 3, maybe a 4, potentially. I actually wanted to just bring up while we're talking about this, a question.
Hit it.
Yeah. Andrew Russell. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Would you rather have a 4 seed in Milwaukee or a 3 seed elsewhere? I think we'll be in Milwaukee at this point, based on the fact that the other teams that are fighting for Milwaukee, I think we'll outseed them, except maybe Iowa State. So I think that's the case, but it's never going to be harmful to beat Michigan State. You talk about mojo, you talk about that. If you beat a team that definitely will be a number 2 seed, I think you're helping yourself get to the 2 line. You're helping yourself stay on the 3 line. You're helping yourself get to Milwaukee, favorable matchups in the first round. The rest argument is the other side of that. At this point, honestly, it's house money. If we lose Michigan State, no problem. Not going to be upset about it. Go get the rest, play for the tournament. If you beat Michigan State, now you got a chance for a title, which I don't love the Big Ten tournament, but I'm never going to turn down a championship. So, yeah, I think there's still upside there. tomorrow's the toughest game left in the tournament, right? If we beat Michigan State, we'll likely we could be favored in the championship game.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there. I think we're probably mostly locked into seeding. Let me see this: Big Ten tournament title or Sweet 16. Let's say you lost in the Sweet 16. Yeah,
I want advancement in the NCAA tournament. Means way more to me than the Big Ten tournament.
Even over a Big Ten title.
Yeah,
I agree. Listen, regular season title or Sweet 16 and lose.
Regular season title. I'm always going to take the Sweet 16. Yeah, dude, I love regular season title for sure.
It's tough one, though. Yeah. Okay. I'm curious. I bet you most people will disagree with us on that, which would be fine. Again, there's never issues with disagreeing. Isaiah Play says Sweet 16. Mark Rocky says Sweet 16. Yeah. Isaiah's like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah. Thank you, Isaiah. That's good.
But what about the regular season, Isaiah? So forget the Big Ten tournament title. Would you rather have a Big Ten regular season title or a Sweet 16 run where you lose in the Sweet 16? I think that one is a tougher question. Lee says, yeah, agree with Rajiv. Mike says regular season. So, okay. Yeah. And Badger and Bournemouth says regular season. I love that. Okay. Let's talk here. Now let's talk Michigan State specifically. Do you think we're going to win? How do you think that matchup's going to play out? I want to point out first Michigan State matchup. They shot far above their regular season mark in 3-point percentage, and we shot far below ours. Now, that's not all randomness. That's not all luck. That's reflective of defense played. It's reflective of Michigan State getting after our shooters and us not doing a great job in transition tracking their shooters. But some of that is also Michigan State is not a great shooting team, and they shot way above their heads. So thoughts on Michigan State with that context and that backdrop?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't hurt yourself by giving a guy like Jace Richardson open threes. That's step number one. Like they will shoot them. They're very athletic. The thing about Michigan State, which I've said multiple times about this team, is they are really good defensively when they turn it up. And Tom Izzo's teams have consistently had the ability to just flip a switch and say, you know what, you're not scoring again. And they've done it to teams all year long. They did it again today to Oregon. They really know how to shut you down. So we've got to find a way to really be deliberate and go down low at times. I don't really want to see us because they're going to defend the perimeter really well. I don't want to see those contested threes with 3 seconds left in the shot clock. I want to go down low, put Tonje on the post, for goodness sakes. Get guys like Crowl and Winter really active with their back to the basket in the post, because that will help break up some of that athletic defense that they carry. And then if they double down, push it out, shoot the three. But you have to be clean against Michigan State. We can't turn the ball over. We had a couple silly turnovers tonight. They will kill you if you have that. They've got so many athletes. It's going to be a really tough game. Michigan State, by the way, nearing the end of the regular season, we were talking about who was going to win the conference. They never lost again after we had that discussion. They finished with 3 losses, which, talk about an end of the season. Michigan State absolutely deserved the Big Ten regular season title. They played their butts off, especially at the end. That's what Tom Izzo teams do. They play really well when the season matters. They're going to play really well tomorrow. If we don't beat ourselves, and our shots are falling, because look, we went 19 of 32 today. We could have easily gone 8 of 32 and have 30 less points. I mean, so if that happens tomorrow, you're probably not going to win, but let's just not beat ourselves. That's the thing.
Yeah. Greg, good point. Michigan State is also not playing at home. First game was obviously up in East Lansing. Sebastian says, finally catch you guys live. Keep doing what you're doing. Love to see a revenge game. Thank you, Sebastian. Appreciate you being here with us, my friend. Yeah, here's the thing with Michigan State. It is very much just like a boxer that just works the middle, works the abdomen, gets you in the stomach, right? Wherever you're supposed to punch them, gets you in the body. And over the course of an entire game against them, because they're very deep, they run in transition, they wear you out, they continually put pressure on you. I've used the dam analogy for Ohio State's offense. Like when you play them, it just feels like you're a dam just trying to hold back this rising river, and eventually just breaks through. You just can't. That's Michigan State's defense. Over the course of an entire game, their defense just eventually becomes too much. And they did it to Oregon today. They did it to us. They've done it all year. Where in that second half, you have 2 or 3 turnovers in a row that leads to runouts by their athletes. And suddenly that 62-60 game is 71-63. And they have all the momentum. You have to just play so consistently hard and smart against them. It's just tough. And credit to them. They're a great, well-coached team, athletic, deep. They run the ball. They are committed to what they do. Their transition offense is incredible. And much to your point, I think you nailed the first part you said was, I talked about this, our first matchup. You can't fall into the trap. They want you to shoot perimeter shots because it leads to long rebounds, which leads to runouts, which fuels their transition. So you got to go inside. You got to hit Crowl. And they're not bad. They have multiple big men that defend, but they're worse on the inside. So that's what you got to do. You got to exploit it. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a tough game. I think Michigan State will probably win. I think they're better than us, quite frankly. But I think we're set up to play well, and I'm very happy with what we've done in this tournament. It feels like our mojo's back.
Yeah. Similar to last year, we played Purdue in the semifinals, and we got it done. We beat a team we shouldn't have beaten. We absolutely can get that. We can do that again tomorrow. I know there were people after last year kind of thinking, well, I wish we would have had more rest because look what happened against James Madison. But that was a different team. Like I ultimately with this team, I think you've said it multiple times on the mojo, and I think this team kind of feeds off that, right? Like it feeds off the energy, the vibes that they're feeling, and let's just keep that going. And even if we lose tomorrow, that's okay. Let's just play well. Let's not beat ourselves. I don't want to see 15 turnovers, 18 turnovers. That's the kind of game that will kind of put you back in that funk. Let's just play hard and play well. If Michigan State beats us, Michigan State beats us. They are a good team. They are the Big Ten champions, and deservedly so. So let's just go out there and give it our all. Hey, we could find ourselves in a championship game, which not complaining about that.
Dude, it's just so much fun. I'm going to wrap it up here, man, and then obviously kick it to you if you have any last thoughts or any last comments you want to put up. It's just so much fun to cheer for a fun team. It feels so good. I'm proud of this team. I'm happy to be a Badgers fan. And we haven't had a ton of that with football lately. This team is fun. They're engaged. They're awesome. They just whooped UCLA. It's been a great year up to this point. Dister says, love jumping on these live streams before the game ends and watching the number climb as the game ends. I love it. We got 305 people watching us today. That's about how many hours of community service I had in high school. So it's great. It's great to see that number bump up. I've lived a long and winding life. Rajiv, any last thoughts, man, as we wrap this show up after a big win?
Yeah, man, I love it too. I was actually getting text messages during the game from not other Big Ten, team friends that I have, and they're like, "Wow, looks like you guys are stomping UCLA." And it's just I'm like, yeah, it's fun, man, and it's fun to see John Tonje play the way that he did. We've been waiting for a Tonje Blackwell performance together. Now let's push forward and do it again. If these two players have this kind of plus minus, this kind of production, they shot combined from the field 15 of 21 from the field. If those guys can shoot that efficiently and can be the players that they've been all year, but put it together at the same time, and you couple that with the experience that we have with Stephen Crowl and the growth from Nolan Winter and down the line, this team can really be special. They really can do something special. I've said it before. I know we'll wait for the matchups to come out on Sunday, but Sweet 16 is absolutely something that I feel like needs to happen. We're going to be a Sweet 16 seed, meaning we're going to be the higher seed in both of our first games. We should get there. I think this team has it. It's fun to watch. Let's keep going, man. You got to love seeing this right now. The tournament is here. The tournament is upon us. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I love it. As well said, I can't wait either. Winning makes everything better from Mark Rocky. 21 parents, long-time watcher, first-time commenting. Dude, thank you for jumping on. Or do it or do that. Whoever, I don't know. I guess I can't tell from the username, but thank you for jumping on. That's awesome. Appreciate you being here. Trev says, what's wrong with Tonje? He missed a shot today, which, by the way, was that last shot, too. It was that, forced shot clock's running down. I'm going to pump fake, jump in. If he just not done that, he made every normal shot he took today. His only missed shot was that weird one where he's just trying to draw foul because the shot clock was basically over. Incredible. All right, we're going to wrap it up there on Wisconsin. Nothing else to say. They absolutely beat up on UCLA today. It was great. Definitely going to talk later. When you're going to go check out Locked On Big Ten. And also, women's hockey. Women's hockey this weekend starting off. That team is incredible. They've been insane all year. That is the dynasty at Wisconsin, by the way. So women's hockey chasing another title starting this weekend. Go check them out on Wisconsin, and we will definitely talk later. For Ryan and Rajiv, appreciate you guys.